All right, everybody, welcome to another GoDaddy Pro meetup. Today we are talking about continuing our series of building recurring revenue, this time with adding maintenance plans, site maintenance plans. As you likely know, once you have built a website, the job's not done. Websites need maintenance, and it's a great opportunity for some recurring revenue. Joining me today, my name is Marcus Burnett. Joining me today is Chris Edwards, owner of Data Driven Labs. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great today.
Awesome. I think we're both in the Orlando area, correct?
Yes, we are.
Nice. That's awesome. Representing Central Florida. I am mostly going to get out of your way here in just a moment, but I wanted to let everyone know that has joined us here that I will be hanging around in the chat to chat with you all as Chris talks to us. And if you have any questions in the chat, there is also a Q&A tab. You can either leave your questions in the chat or in the Q&A tab. And we'll have some time at the end, I think, for Chris to answer some of your questions. So without further ado here, Chris, I'm going to hand it over to you and let you talk to us about site maintenance plans.
All right. I'm going to get my slides up here. All right. Can you see those?
Yep.
All right. Perfect. All right. So, yeah, we're going to talk today about creating recurring revenue using site plans. And just basically, we're going to discuss how you can create that recurring revenue just by offering site maintenance to your clients. So, this is going above and beyond building a website or doing any of those things. This allows you basically to create some more profit coming into your business as well. All right. So first, just a little bit about me. I've been a website developer for about 21 years, WordPress developer for about 9, doing digital marketing, SEO for 14. And then the biggest thing here is I've owned my own agency. For the past 6 years, I've owned my own agency full outright, doing that full time, as well as doing freelancing before. We turned it into an agency basically by offering these recurring revenue pieces. I'm also a GoDaddy Pro ambassador. And just for fun, I like to go out to Disney, blog about Disney and the theme parks here in Orlando, and also dad to a 15-year-old teenager, which can be fun and challenging all at the same time. All right, so let's just we're going to, today in our topic, we're going to kind of go over why should I have a recurring revenue? What are some examples of those? We're going to also go through creating some of these maintenance plans. I'm also going to talk about some great different tools that I use with these, and then we're going to also open it up for questions and discussion as well. All right, so first, what is recurring revenue and why is that important? So, recurring revenue, this is going to be a reliable income that you can rely on coming in at all different times. It's income that you can plan for. Think about like subscriptions, for example. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to relieve your stress. You're going to stop living project to project. You're going to slow down that hustle that you're always having to do. You're going to create some predictable income and be able to take a day off, which is one of the things that's really hard to do when you're running a project-based business. When you're just building websites and doing those types of services, you're constantly working. If you're not working, you're not making money. With recurring revenue, this allows you to build out these subscriptions and have that predictable income that's coming in each month. Without recurring revenue, it can be hard to turn a profit. Depending on what cycles and who you work with, you're going to have your dead times. You're going to have those slow periods, and then also every year you start back over again. That means when you hit the new year, you're back to having to re-earn all that business and remake all that money. You have no year over year revenue coming in for your business. Also, you could be working on these big projects. They can stall. When they stall, that can mean payments aren't coming in, you're not getting paid on your work, and things are going to really slow down for you. And then also just allows you to stabilize that income. As we talked about all these things above, you want to make sure that you can rely on a consistent paycheck to be coming in. And so with recurring revenue, it's going to allow us to stabilize our income and be able to predict what our monthly income will be. This allows you to make better decisions if you're looking at, making larger purchasing decisions, especially if you're looking at buying a house or anything like that. Banks are going to want to see that for mortgages and things like that. When you have a project-based business, it's very hard to know exactly what you're going to be bringing in that month. All right. So you can also become more than just another vendor. So this is the other biggest reason why I love recurring revenue. With recurring revenue, we're going to be able to create a relationship with our clients. So with one-off projects, you may be in that client's mind where you're working back and forth, creating that website for them or building out that service or whatever they need at that time. But then over time, they're going to forget who you were. You go back and ask somebody who had someone build a website and there was no relationship after that, who built your website 5 years ago, they're going to be like, I don't, I had to go look in my books. I got to go look through and see. I'm not really sure who built our website back then. They're going to forget about you. With an ongoing relationship, you're going to build that a lot stronger. You're going to have that strong client relationship. You're going to be able to get more referrals out of it. So when you're working every single month with a client back and forth, they're going to continue to remember who you are. It's going to make that bond a lot stronger because you weren't just someone who built one website, but you're a partner. You're helping them run and build their business, and that's going to allow them to get to know you better, have a stronger relationship, and it's also going to bring in a whole lot more referrals. All right, so before we jump into talking about it with websites, just kind of want to bring out examples of other industries that have created recurring revenue streams. So you've got movie theaters, Spotify. This is one I actually just got into recently, a car wash company. A lot of car washes have found that the recurring model works for them as well, and even software such as Microsoft Office. Rather than building a new product and reselling it every single time, they have found that if they can just build this and have you pay monthly, they're able to build their revenue off of ongoing revenue off of that and continue to improve the product rather than reinvent the product every couple years. Car wash companies is a great example as well. Sure, they sell one-off car washes, but they have found that if they sell for just a little bit more, that they can then make a subscription where you get unlimited car washes and you come in and out, and now they've got that created. They've created that revenue. They know every month you're going to pay that, for example, $30 a month to come get your car washed, versus if they charge just that 20, they know that you may go to somebody else to do your car wash next time, and this keeps your business with them. All right, so um, creating these recurring site care plans is actually a lot easier than most think. A lot of times when I start talking about this, people are like, well, creating recurring revenue is going to be really hard. It's a lot of work to create these. And it really is not that hard. First thing you got to do is just got to figure out what services you will offer, and you got to create a different level and create those different level packages. So with us, we like to have I always recommend create a basic, extremely affordable plan, right? And then you want a more advanced plans with more services, and then you want to create hidden plans. And we're going to talk a little bit more about each of those and what those are as we go through these. But this is kind of the model of how you want to do. You want something that's really basic that can get everybody in, and then you want something that's going to be a little more on the advanced side. All right, so the basics of a site plan. You can offer a lot of different services, but when you look down to the bare bones basics of what are some things you want to offer, these are some of those different things that I have found are great to offer. So hosting services, and we're going to talk about that because it always scares people whenever I say hosting services. They think that they're going to have to become their own web host. They're going to have to run a server, a whole farm of servers, and they're going to have to hire all these network people on, and it's going to be really complex. I'm going to show you how that actually is not that hard to offer that as a service. WordPress updates. WordPress loves to release updates for them. And also the plugins. There's lots of updates coming out for plugins, and missing one of those updates can cause your site to get hacked. Most clients don't go in and run these updates. Most clients are a little scared to press the update button, and they're not keeping their sites up to date. And this is something that's really easy to do, but can add up because updates don't release every Monday at 3 p.m. Updates kind of come out all over the time, all over the place, all different times. Sometimes you'll even have one plugin release an update and then release an update right after because that update wasn't, broke some sites or something. Site backups and restore. So a lot of people already have backups included in their hosting plans, but a lot of them don't have, either they don't have them set up correctly, or they're not sure how to restore them when something does happen. So creating these site backups, making sure that proper site backups are being taken, retained, and everything is a great service to have, because at one point a WordPress update will fail. You'll get that white screen of death and everything will stop working, and it will make everyone feel better knowing that there is a backup of the site and that it can be restored fairly quickly. And remember, at these times, your client's going to be freaking out. They're going to be in a really bad mood at that point because their whole site is down. So having that ease of knowing that the updates are out there will really help. And then WordPress security, offering that security and giving those clients a peace of mind. All right, so we talked about hosting, and this is the image I typically get whenever I do this talk in person. Everyone in the audience is freaking out, going, "Well, hold on, I'm not going to be a server admin. That's not what I want to do. I don't want to touch that. I don't want to get involved." So let me tell you why I disagree with that. Website hosting is something that every single client needs. No matter what you do, if they build a website, it has to be hosted somewhere, unless they're just going to put it on, USB drive and look at it in their spare time. If anyone's going to come to their website, it's got to be hosted somewhere. It's got to be online. Um, Biggest thing is clients don't understand hosting. It's a black box for them. That's especially when you start looking at all the different hosting plans, with people with these freelancers and stuff. We've seen this kind of stuff. We hosting is very quick. We can look at a hosting plan and know exactly what it's going to offer. But when clients start looking at it, they don't understand what space is, bandwidth is. They don't understand what a visit is, what's not a visit. They don't understand how to set up email. They don't know any of that information going on. So being able to offer the hosting and give them something that help them with something that they know nothing about is always going to be the easiest sell. I know with a lot of our clients hosting, the maintenance plans are harder to sell than just the hosting part of the plan. A lot of people come on with hosting and then they come on with the maintenance. And I'll explain that in a minute why we do it that way. You can also standardize the environment. So if you are bringing on, 50 sites that you're going to be maintaining, the nice thing is knowing if you have them all on the same host, you know exactly what that environment is set, how that environment is set up. You know exactly how the caching layers work. You know exactly whenever there's going to be a problem, you've already worked with it. You know how to fix those different pieces because it's your environment. It's an environment you are used to. And then here's the crazy thing: the client doesn't care where the site's hosted. They're going to contact you first whenever something breaks. No matter what, if it's the host or not, they're going to contact you and they're going to then tell you, "Well, I want you to fix it," and you have to go back and forth and try and explain, "Well, this part's your host. You need to call your host," and you're going to spend more time doing that than it would be to just fix it if it was on your own hosting. And so it's better to, since they're going to call you, go ahead and offer that as a service to them. All right, so let's talk about the different types of hosting that's available out there. We're going to talk about three different types. You have managed WordPress, VPS, which also can be dedicated or cloud, and then you've got cPanel, also known as WHM, that's out there. So managed WordPress, these are going to be accounts that are tailored to WordPress and require little work on your part. They offer staging environments, backups, caching, top tier support, and they're very good if you don't know anything about being a server admin. They work great. Now they do come in a little bit higher of a cost, and when I say high cost, you're going to see in a little bit that that's actually not as high as you may think. But they come with a whole lot less work. You can stand back. This is for those that will have their hands in their head, freaking out about, oh, I don't want to be a server admin. This is definitely the better path to go. Now, some of the other options are if you want a little bit more control, you can set up most of them are now cloud based, but you can set up a VPS or dedicated server. So this can be things, like when you hear DigitalOcean or AWS or Google Cloud. The environment can be tailored to WordPress, but you have to set that environment up. And there are some tools that help with that. We'll talk about in a little bit, but you still are in charge of that server. They're flexible. It's flexible and allows you to pick the right server setup for your job and the right size server, so you're in control of that. It requires a little bit of knowledge of how web hosting and servers work. Like I said, there are some tools out there that will help you with that, but there is a little bit of stuff you're going to have to know how to do. You're going to have to get in command line and build that server out and set it up. Also, there's usually little to no support. You are the support, you are the server admin. So if everything hits the fan and you're not sure what to do at that time, you may not actually have somebody you can reach out to just that's a server admin to fix the server. They are a lot lower cost, but they do require more work. And then you do have cPanel and WHM hosting. You'll see these a lot of times. These are those website plans you see $2 a month or $1 a month for a website. They're not tailored for WordPress. They're usually on a shared environment, meaning you're sharing resources. They can offer email hosting, but you do need to know how to use cPanel and Web Host Manager in order to use those. They can be extremely lower cost, but with WordPress sites, especially if you start looking at e-commerce sites, these can sometimes cripple under a larger load of traffic. So you just have to know a lot about cPanel and WHM, as well as being a little bit of a server admin to know how to manage those. We don't typically recommend people to use those anymore. Instead, we recommend either go the managed WordPress route or the cloud hosting route if they are looking for running their own web hosting. All right, so let's talk about the benefits of managed WordPress hosting. That server environment is all handled by your host. So you're not having to set up the server or do anything on that side. Support is also managed by that host. And this is great when you have clients because you can go in and just create a ticket. I know when recently I had one of my sites go down and we were literally on our way, my wife and I were on our way out the door to a dinner and the client's site was down. And all I did was I opened up a ticket with my hosting company, and I said, "This site is down. I need it back up." And then I left, and then I just monitored the ticket from my phone, knowing that they were going to get it back up. And sure enough, they were able to restore and get the site back up for me. And so it was kind of nice because I didn't have to sit there as I do on. I do have some cloud hosts that I run my own servers for, where I'm spending 2-3 hours and have to cancel my dinner to try and get that back up. So that's the nice thing about the support side. They're tailored to WordPress, so they will have the best in caching, staging environments, backups, latest and greatest performance. And a lot of these hosts, managed hosts, are constantly improving their platforms to try to improve those pieces. And they also have agency pricing plans. So talking about those, basically agency pricing options for managed WordPress are where you get a package. You get 30 sites or 50 sites for X amount of dollars, and the prices scales down as you add more websites. So this can really be a great way to offer these services. To give you an idea, recently you have managed WordPress agency pricing for GoDaddy. And you'll see here you have different levels. You have Pro 5, which just gives you 5 websites starting at $24.99 or $25. And then it goes all the way up to having 50. And then I believe if you go beyond that, there are some custom plans beyond that as well. But you'll notice you can kind of scale and offer these out. And I broke this out real quick to show you the difference in what it comes out to per site. So those first 2 plans come out to $5 as what your cost. And this is for a managed host. $5 per site to host them. And then slowly they start to go down, $3.60, $3.40. And this allows you to really flex out. And this is your cost to host the client's website. Now, we'll talk a little bit about creating those packages later, but you can see it's not very expensive to run hosting when you're running it at scale. And these are typically the same plans that you would find that are going for $10 to $15 a month that the client would pay directly. So a lot of times I have those people who come back and go, well, I don't want to pay $15 a month per site when they can get that for the same price. Well, because you're buying it at agency bulk pricing, you can get those a lot cheaper. So I threw this up there, some examples of a couple different ones that we do have sites at all of these agency hosts. And, we constantly, it's more of a, it's more of a pain to sometimes move sites afterwards with certain clients. And so we've left some on some. When we got started, it was Flywheel was the one that was out there when we got started, and then Kensta came in, and GoDaddy recently started offering these managed WordPress agency host plans as well. And I kind of broke out the pricing so you can see the difference here. And they all kind of have their own feature sets that you can look into to see what fits best for your clients and what their offerings are. You'll notice many of them are very similar. The only thing that differs across them is going to be price. And you'll see the different pricing levels here. And I broke it down from the high end down to the lower end. And some of these you may be able to negotiate better rates if you have more than 50, I think more than 50 sites, I think comes to 50 to 100 sites. If you've got more than that many sites, you can actually negotiate these prices probably down lower. All right, so let's talk about the cloud hosting. So with cloud hosting, you're going to spin up a server, usually at one of the cloud providers: Google Cloud, UpCloud, DigitalOcean. This is where you're running your own server. Now, those servers are extremely cheap to spin up and run a server. You can run a server that can hold 50 websites, and that server may only cost you $10 a month to pull that to spin that server and run that server yourself. Now, there are some tools that help out with them. Ironically enough, when I put all these into the slide, I realized they all have very similar logos. I think they've all copied each other because their logos seem to be almost the exact same. But you have SpinUp, RunCloud, and Cloudways, and they all hook up to a server that you purchase yourself. So what these tools do is they offer some of the things you get with managed WordPress hosting, such as page caching, Let's Encrypt, staging sites, backups. And they set up that whole entire environment for you, so you can easily spin sites up with ease and have a control panel that you can control. With these, you can bring your own server. Even give a client their own dedicated server. So if you have a client that's going to need a lot of resources, you can even put them on their own server itself. And you get those servers from DigitalOcean, UpCloud, AWS, Google Cloud Services, Linode, or some of them. There are others as well that you can look at. And so I just want to finish up real quick with these. So the only thing with these is, while they work great, and I'm actually having this right now, I do use UpCloud with SpinUp for a couple of our larger sites that we run, and we did just recently run into an issue with cloning over the site, where the site is actually having some issues with cloning, and I'm having to work with the support team, and the support team is limited in what they're able to do. If it's a problem with their software, they will fix it. But if it's a problem with the server, it comes back on, well, you are the support system. This is your realm to fix. And so that's one of the reasons why I say, this is me now getting a command line. I do have a background in running servers and building servers. So I do know what I'm doing in there, but I would prefer not to. But with some of these clients, that's one of the risks versus reward. It was a lot lower cost for the size server they needed. This was a server that I got a quote from a couple of those other providers you saw before, where the quote was going to cost me hard costs between $600 to $900 a month to run a server through one of the managed hosts, and I'm running it between UpCloud and using SpinUp. My costs are about $90 a month. So I was able to have a huge savings, but I am now the support on that side. All right, so let's talk about what we can do as well. Is we can keep websites up and running smooth. So as we talked about earlier, clients do not update their sites. When they do update, they a lot of times break things. They're not sure what they're updating. They're not sure to be very careful when they update certain things. They're not paying attention to what's actually happening. And so this is one of the best ways you can offer site updates, as part of a maintenance plan, is you can offer these as weekly updates, and you can promise security updates even quicker. So this is one of the things we do. We go in and we offer to our clients that we'll run weekly updates on everything. And if a security update comes in, then we will run that a lot quicker. And we do that using GoDaddy Pro sites and GoDaddy Pro Hub. We use those services because they will actually alert us when there is a security update that comes out, and one of our sites has one of those updates available, so that we can jump in quickly and make those updates. And then we go in on a weekly basis, usually Mondays, and we run updates across all of our sites, all of our client sites. If a plugin breaks on a site, you can either do a quick fix or advise the client on the next steps, and you can use tools to help manage this process, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit. So this is the GoDaddy Pro Hub. You also have GoDaddy Pro sites as well, and they're very similar. GoDaddy Pro Hub is what everything is kind of slowly migrating over to. And so it's got most of the feature sets over in it. But as you see, I can see all my sites in here, and I can see all the plugin updates that I need to run. So I can come in here and see that I have 119 plugins that need to be updated, and 10 themes and one WordPress site. And so I can go in here and I can run updates mass across all of my sites. And using GoDaddy Pro sites, you can also run a thing called safe updates as well, where it'll go in and it will run an update on all of your sites, and then do a visual comparison check to show you the difference between the two, so you can see if there was a potential problem or a major page shift when you ran that update. Um, Also, keeping our websites backed up gives them that peace of mind. Websites will break at one time or another. I've never had one perfect website. There's always going to be something that's going to cause an issue, and the website will break. And having that backup and having multiple backups really helps out. So when we talk about keeping our websites backed up, make sure the backups are happening regularly. Daily is your best option. And when you're using certain tools, you can actually go down to even every 6 hours, depending on how many changes they make to that site a day. Make sure you can easily restore those backups. And then this is the biggest thing: have backups in multiple places. So one of the things is most of those agency hosts that we were talking about, they all provide backups on their services, and that's what we call the hosting backup. We always like to use an additional service to take a third or a second backup that's going to be located somewhere else. And so, we use the GoDaddy Pro sites or GoDaddy Pro Hub. We'll do this for you and keep that offsite backup. We like to have both backups just because it's one of those. While I've not had a time that either one of those services have failed and the other one was successful, I just like the ease of mind of knowing, hey, I've got this in two places. Clients also love to hear that when you say we're keeping your site backed up in two different places, located on two totally different services. Oftentimes, that will help with making the sale because they're going to know, hey, my my stuff is not just in one place; it's in at least two places. All right, so offense security is actually pretty easy. Most of the security is actually in what you're already offering as a service. So when you're putting them on a secured hosting environment, you're making sure that their site is secure. SSL certificates, making sure they have the SSL set up properly. That is already given them secure. Regular updates, making sure that all the plugins are up to date. Doing security scans, which GoDaddy Pro sites will do security scans for you. All of those are typically already in the services that you're already offering. And then what we always like to do is we like to throw in a fixed hack sites. Some of the managed hosts will actually offer this even on the agency level plan, where they will go in if a site gets hacked and they will fix it, and it's just part of your fee that you pay. And then you can also use services like Sakuri as well that you can use to fix hacked websites as well. When you're doing everything right, it's very rare that you'll have a hacked website. And one of the things we do is we highly encourage clients to use secure, strong passwords, and we'll often limit them to only be allowed to use strong passwords. It's very rare that we do get a client who may come in and say, I don't want to use a secure password. We'll highly advise against it. And if they still do, then they could be at risk at that point. But going in and fixing hacked sites is not as scary as you think, because if you're doing everything else right, this will happen very rare. I think in the last 3 years, I've had one of our sites that was hacked that we had to fix. And ironically enough, it was on a managed host that did offer that service. So I just sent in a support ticket, and about 2 hours later, they had the whole site cleaned out and ready to go, and everything was good. And then I went in and made sure that everything else, that I made sure passwords got changed and all of that, just to make sure that if they did get in through something else, that we were securing against that. All right. So the other thing is you can use a tool. We've talked a lot about using the GoDaddy Pro tool, which you have two of them out there right now. You have the GoDaddy Pro Hub, and then you have the GoDaddy Pro sites. This is the what's in GoDaddy Pro sites. Most of this is also over in GoDaddy Pro Hub as well. But you got all the free features. You can see all those in there: managed updates, the backups, all of those pieces. And then you have the premium where you can get things like safe updates, site clone, and you can also get more premium backups. You can also get white labeling and other pieces as well. But these are what we're going to look at here when we talk about building out our plans. So we can create additional recurring revenue services to offer that higher level plan, such as speed optimization, CDN services, SEO services, including support and dev hours. And again, I'll talk about that here as we talk about creating those plans. So this is what we offer over at my agency for WordPress maintenance. So you'll see that basic package that we talked about. You got the light hosting in there, which we talked about. We're partnering with an agency managed WordPress agency hosted to offer that. Discounted hourly support. So if you're on that plan and you have support items that are us going in and making updates to your site, those are at a discounted rate from our typical hourly rate. Updates to your themes and plugins, updates to WordPress, daily backups, uptime security, SMTP email relay via Postmark. So we actually do this just because we've had some issues with our managed hosts with emails. So we actually set up Postmark, which ends up costing us only $20 a month for all of our clients total. CDN, with our managed hosts, they actually offer a CDN that's on their system. So we say you must host with us, and we advertise that as a benefit. But again, that's just part of the hosting that we already have them on. And then access to premium plugins, which we have some premium plugins that we pay for sites that we build, and we give them access to that because we have an HC license on those. And then you see under the advanced plan, we added a few extra things like the Rank Math Pro SEO plugin, speed performance optimization, which is what we use. We used at Rocket to do that kind of stuff. Unlimited image optimization, which we use Imagify to do that. This is also where we'll offer WooCommerce support. So if you have a WooCommerce site, you have to be on our advanced plan just because it requires a little bit more. And this is where we offer the malware cleanup, the hacked site cleanup. Is under that plan. And then we have our premium plan, which adds a little bit more items in there like spam protection and all that. Now, all of these items that you see added into these plans are all through services that we already pay for. We're not performing really anything extra to add these. These are either us using GoDaddy Pro sites or us adding on other services like Postmark or a CDN service or just or using a paid plugin that we give them access to. So creating these plans does not have to be difficult, does not have to be hard. You don't have to hire a bunch of staff to offer these types of plans. And then just to show you real quick, this is also when we talk about we do something different. And you'll notice on all of our plans, light hosting is included. And here's why we did that. We did that because hosting is one of those, if they want to stay with their host, it does not change the pricing of our maintenance plans. We're selling maintenance plans that include hosting, not hosting plans that include maintenance. And the key reason for that is because we have that agency level managed WordPress host, it allows us to easily offer hosting services to anyone who needs them. And we would prefer you host with us. So by offering that for free, we often get clients to say, oh, well, if it's free with my maintenance plan, I'll just go ahead and host with you, which then makes things a lot easier for us to manage their website. And you'll see our light package, that's what's included. And then we did add where we add a fee if you need a little bit more beefy. I will tell you 90% of our customers are completely fine on the light plans. We have one, I think we have one or two on the professional, and we have I think one on the business plan. And then we do have one that's on a custom plan where we built or two of them where we've built them in their own custom server using SpinUp and UpCloud, and that's not included in here because those are quoted based off of their server needs as they're because those sites get about 3 million hits a month. But everything else falls usually under one of these plans if you're working with small businesses. All right. So now you need to price and sell your plans. So pricing ultimately depends on the type of clients that you need to price. And I just want to jump real back. I'm just going to share real quick what our pricing is on these three plans here. The basic is we charge $59 a month for. The advanced is $99 a month, I believe. And then our premium is at 149 or 199 actually. I can't remember. I have to pull up my my pricing sheet, but it's either 149 or 199 on that plan per month. All right. So now you need to price your plans. So pricing ultimately depends on the types of clients. So if you're building if you sell a website for $1,000, um, it's gonna be hard to get someone to then pay $150 a month for um, maintenance on it. Now, if you sell a website for $20,000, $150 a month is a drop in the bucket on maintenance. So make sure that you price your maintenance plans based off of what your website pricing is and what you're charging. Have hosting plans that are also hidden plans, hosting only plans. So one of the things that we've done is we have some that the $59 a month is just too high. And so we actually have a plan. And remember, I showed you what the pricing hard cost is on the hosting options. You can get those if you're using the GoDaddy. If you're using GoDaddy Pro managed agency managed host, you can get that down to $3.40 a site. So you might want to just offer a hosting only plan at $10, but you don't advertise that. That's your go-to when they say, I'm not interested in doing these plans are all too expensive. You can say, well, we do have a hosting only plan. It's $10 or $15 a month, and we would just keep your site hosted for you. That way, you don't lose the client. You still keep that recurring business. Also, create custom plans for clients to have higher needs. So those plans I showed you are our typical plans that we give to most of our clients, but we do have clients that have specific needs, specific complications. We do build out based off of those plans a custom plan for them at a custom pricing based off of their needs and what they need. All right. So don't sell maintenance plans. You want to sell a peace of mind. And so when you're selling these, the biggest thing you want to do is um, you don't come at trying to sell the features of the plan. Sell them that they're coming to you because you are the expert. You're the web developer. You're the web designer. You're the one that they're hiring to keep their website up and running. I like to say this, when I talk about, let's say I have a pipe burst at my house. Sure, I can get on YouTube. I can go on there and try to figure out how to fix that pipe burst and how to properly replumb that wall or whatnot. But I'm not an expert. I'm not a plumber. This is not what I do by my trade. So it makes more sense for me to hire somebody who knows what they're doing to come in and do the job right and make sure that everything is all set. And then I write the check, and then I have that peace of mind knowing that that pipe was repaired by a professional and not by somebody who watched a few videos on YouTube. And so that's the same thing you're doing here is you're selling that peace of mind that you're going to take care of everything for them, that you're the expert. This is your field. This is what you know. And you're going to keep everything running for them and they can focus on running their business. Um, and also, it also creates one point of contact for everything. So by offering maintenance and hosting and all these other pieces that you're putting into one package, they know that whenever their website has any kind of thing going on, they can just call you or send a ticket into you and you're going to take care of it. And that's all they got to worry about. And it makes them feel so much better knowing that there's a peace of mind that they can just reach out to you and you're going to be the one who's going to take care of getting them back up and running so they can go focus on other things instead of them having to call their web host and call their the guy who runs their plugin updates and then calling this reaching out to this plugin over here to see what's wrong with it, and it just makes it a lot easier on them. So timing is also key when selling the maintenance plans. I will mention our maintenance plans in our proposal, but I don't do the full sales pitch on the maintenance plan until we're right about to launch the website or right after we launch the website. And the reason for this is you're already throwing a lot of numbers down to make the sale on that initial website build. So we put the information in our proposal, but we don't talk about it unless the client really wants to focus on talking about that. And we do the sales pitch as we get closer to launch. Usually in our second revision phase, when we're finishing out those final revisions and we're on that call, we will then talk about our launch plan and we'll say, well, we're at our launch point. We showed you in your proposal our maintenance plans, and we'd like to talk to you about selling or about setting up one of those maintenance plans. And this is the maintenance plan we recommend for your site. Always recommend a plan to them and tell them why you're recommending that. And don't make it just recommending your highest level plan. Make sure you thought about what they actually need and offer the right plan for them. Also, by working with them through the whole build process, you'll also know where your client falls on, are they on a very extremely limited budget, or would they be, are they, or are they someone who has a lot of needs and is going to need a higher level plan? So you can kind of really see what kind of client they're going to be, so you know which plan they fit into as well. All right, so let's talk about retaining those clients. You worked hard to get these clients. Let's not lose them to another service, or even make them think that they can do it themselves. Because quite honestly, as you've worked with a lot of your clients, um, it looks like it's easy, but and it may be easy until something breaks, and then they're going to have a hard time getting it fixed, and it's going to cause a lot of issues. So the biggest thing is you need to report back to your clients on what services you're doing. Don't just charge them every month and not tell them what you're doing. We make sure that both the invoice that we send them lists out every month what services we're doing, but we also send them a report every month of the different things that we're doing, which we're able to do that through GoDaddy Pro sites. It actually shows them all the updates we did on the sites, all the backups we took, shows them all the different information they need to see with white label reporting. Don't hide. Be out in the open and communicate with them. So I like to over communicate when we're working with clients. If I had to manually go in and fix something, rather than just fixing it and leaving it be, I will send an email to the client and say, "Hey, when we ran an update today, this plugin actually broke. We reverted the plugin back, got your site back up and running, and everything looks nice and smooth. We're going to monitor that plugin to see if the developer releases a fix for that." Go above and beyond. Don't go quiet. If you go quiet and your clients don't know you're there, there'll be a time when they'll all of a sudden look at their bill and just say, "Why am I paying this?" And then make sure you show value for the work you're doing. Show them that what they're paying for, that they're actually getting value out of that service, and whatnot. So let's talk about the different tools we use real quick to do our site care plans. Billing. Billing, the biggest thing is you want to do monthly credit card subscriptions that auto pay. These are the best way to keep everything flowing, because having someone come in and manually pay an invoice will often trigger them to really think about what they're paying and think about, do I need this service? And they'll really start trying to overanalyze it, versus auto payments always will help you have a better revenue flow. So we use Zoho subscriptions. We've been using it for about 6 years now. And so we're very tied into it. It ties right in. We use Zoho Books for our accounting. So it ties right into Zoho Books. And so this is what we use. But since we've used this, there's been a lot of other ones that have started coming out. You have Flywheel Growth Suite, WooCommerce subscriptions. You can actually set WooCommerce with a subscription plugin, Recurly, Chargeify, and actually the GoDaddy Pro Hub now actually offers invoicing, with recurring invoicing in it as well. So you can utilize that service as well. That I have not updated the slide with that in here, that recently launched, but that's something you can also offer inside of there. But the biggest thing is you want to make it so they can pay by a credit card, and it auto pay or auto charges every month to keep that flowing. Offload some of the, you can also offload your management of the website to another team. So let's say you don't really feel comfortable making those plugin updates or doing that. There are services out there that work with agencies to do this. You have GoWP, which is a service that works with with agencies to offer different managed services. So a lot of, not just doing website management, but you can also, they'll help you out with all kinds of other things that you may need for your agency as well. Flywheel managed updates, WP buffs, maintain. All of these services offer plugin updates, so you can actually pay to have those as well. You have to look at each one of them for their different pricing and whatnot. But you can do that if you don't want to do the work yourself, or you're a little nervous about it. You can work with one of them to do that as well. All right. So that was a lot of slides to get through, but I do want to open it up for some questions. Let me jump over here.
Yeah, hey, that was a lot of info, but a lot of really great info. I worked at an agency for over 10 years, and there were a lot of things in there that would have filled some gaps, things that would have been great to know at that time too. Would have saved a lot of work, or you know, increased the revenue, or all sorts of different things there. Yeah, I put out for folks to leave questions in the chat. Those of you that are hanging out with us, feel free to continue to add some questions. There weren't any, so I grabbed a couple that were the ones that we have gotten from other sources here. that I can share with you and see if you have some nuggets of info to share with us. The first one I have is: have you found any one or two of your monthly services that really convince clients in the value of signing up for like a monthly maintenance plan?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing um, that we've had was when their site had an issue and be able to restore backups. I honestly find backups are one of our biggest selling features. And unfortunately, they aren't at the beginning because people never think it's going to be a problem. But once they happen, I think that's typically where we get clients. They'll have a site down, they'll freak out, they'll call us, and within 5 minutes, their site's back up and running online. So we find that being one of the biggest things. And then honestly, the hosting, because we make sure your site's nice and fast on the host. We've had a lot of clients once they've come on with us come back and just compliment how much faster their website is because they came from a potentially a cPanel host where their
Mm.
site was not optimized, not running very fast, and now that we have it running on a properly optimized WordPress server, a lot of them will just come back and comment how much faster their website is.
Yeah, that backups one, unfortunately, by the time that you realize that you need backups, you've probably been burnt. So that's
Yeah.
definitely one that needs to be part of it beforehand, before you need it. It's one you want before you need it. Another question: do you at Data Driven Labs, do you offer any kind of website training as part of your plans, or is that built into the development of the site itself, or how do you handle educating clients?
Yeah, so typically that comes out as part of the quoting process. And if a client wants us to do some extra training, we charge that just at our normal hourly rate to do a training session. I actually have one this week I'm doing with a client that we built out their site and they want us to train their internal staff on how to make a bunch of updates and all of that. So we will offer that, and we offer that at our normal hourly rate. Based off of the staff, the staff member that has to work on it, um, or has to do the training. We
Hmm,
will have that hourly rate they'll be charged on that.
nice. And the final one that I have here, I think maybe I was just more curious based on my previous agency experience. But do you have like contracted terms, or is it all month to month? Do you have longer term agreements than that, or can people cancel anytime? Obviously, canceling the hosting means your site goes away. So there's that aspect to it or whatever. And then sort of a follow up to that one: can clients upgrade or downgrade between the different plans month to month or at given intervals, or however you handle that?
Yeah, so actually, that's great. Kind of goes back to what you were just saying. One of the things that people like most or make it easier to sell our plans. We do not at DDL. We do not require any kind of contract. We have a line in our contract that states that you have to provide at least a 30-day notice. This is just so we can properly stop all the services and the billing and all that. But you're not actually locked into a contract, and the reason we do that is because when you start talking that you're locked into a contract, oftentimes it will scare a customer. We've done those. We have done them before and we thought that they worked. And what we have found is you had two types. You had people who would not sign up because then they, instead of looking at it being $59 a month, they're looking at it being 700 and whatever dollars a year, is what they're now looking at because they're looking at the full contract term. And then you have the other part of that is I've always found that if a client's going to leave you, what are you going to do? Take them to small claims court over the five months at $59? You're going to spend a lot more money in legal fees to try to even collect that money.
Hmm.
If you ever
Hmm.
collect that money, than you would have just letting them go. And the biggest thing is what we like to say is if you don't like us, I don't want to force you to stay with us because if I let you, if you're not happy with us and you want to leave, then go ahead, take off, because if I force you to stay with me, you're going to give me bad reviews in every place you can, and you're going to chase off more of my customers. Versus if you don't like us and you want to leave, then we are okay. We will assist with that process the best we can and let you go ahead and take off. As for upgrading or downgrading, yes, if you need a different plan, you can easily always upgrade or downgrade. And this is where I was talking about automatic credit card billing. We've had a few clients on our higher level plans, especially that when their credit card expired and it actually required them to do a manual action, they took that time to also relook at our plans and decide that they wanted to go with a lower plan. So this is the other reason why I say when you're sending an invoice every month, they're going to think about and analyze the plan versus once you just sign them up. I like to say, think of it like a self-storage unit, right? You put all your stuff in there, and every month you tell yourself, I'm going to go clean all my stuff out so I don't have to keep paying all this. But then you get auto billed and you go, oh, I'll do that next month then. I've got 30 more days, and you just keep pushing it out, and you never actually go and clean out, and you get a lot more months out of it. So it's also a sales tactic to have that auto payment. But we do allow you to upgrade and downgrade as you feel fit. Again, the 30-day piece applies. It basically takes in our subscription system, we upgrade you, and it takes place on the next month.
Yeah, at some point you look at that $59 and you're like, I think it's worth $59 for me not to have to go deal with that thing, right? And
Yep.
that's very similar here, right? You're taking care of all of that stuff, and maybe they even could take care of a lot of that, but is it worth the time that they're going to spend to learn all of the pieces of that and figure out how all of that works together? Or does it make more sense to just pay you the $59 a month, or one of the other plans, right? It's so much time saved. It's stuff that you already know. You've already built up this backlog of education around all of the pieces and how they work and how they need to work together and how to restore from backups and all of that. So it's it's something that you can take care of that would take them so much more time, and it just makes more sense to just pay you to do that.
Exactly.
Well, that is all the questions that I had. Thank you all for joining us. We are actually taking a break next week from these weekly meetups and are going to join our friends over at the WPMRR Summit. So feel free to come join us over there. And then when we return the following week, we are going to be starting a series for just getting your sites and stores and clients and all of that ready for the holidays. Black Friday, Cyber Monday is coming. It's right around the corner. It's going to be here faster than any of us are ready for. But we will be back with a series of I think 5 weeks of just different parts of the process, marketing and website and commerce and all of that leading into that holiday season. This particular meetup will also it has been recorded. We'll be making this available shortly after here within the next, I believe, day or so. Usually they're available. So if you missed any of it or want to go back and review some of the slides, there's a lot of great info in there. Please do come back in and check out the replay of the recording there. It'll be back at the events.godaddy.com site, which is also where you can register for that whole series I just talked about coming up for the holiday season. And it'll be posted there. And I believe also the replay will be emailed to you if you registered for this, which you obviously did. If you're joining us on Twitter, then make sure that you come back to the events.godaddy.com site to catch the replay there. That's all I've got for right now. Thanks again, Chris, for all of that really great information. I think that I already see in the chat here that a lot of people were really happy with the volume of information that you were able to share and got some really great stuff out of it. So I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll see you next time, everyone.